You know what time it is. It's 9 to 5 with Gavin and Mike. In this episode, we'll be exploring the difference between joy and happiness. But before we get into it, drop the intro.
Konnichiwa. My name is Gavin Masumiya.
Nice to see ya.
I'm a mindset coach based out of West LA.
And I'm Mike Aheirwe.
You hear me?
I'm a Transformational Life Coach from London.
These recordings are short, sharp, sweet snippets of insight for anybody hustling a 9 to 5.
That's right, you can tune into them on your way to work, on your lunch break, or on your way home after a long day's hustle. What's interesting for me, I think it's worth noting, is that words have different energy and history for different people, right? But Gavin has an interesting take on the words happiness and joy, and so I'm curious about that, and we're going to explore that in today's conversation. So Gavin, why don't you set us straight? What is the difference between happiness and joy, and why is it important?
So basically for me, I'm a part of this to further train and develop me as a human being and as a coach. I'm a part of this program known as Joy Revolution, and we're really digging deep from different vantage points, philosophical vantage points to a positive psychology vantage point is how do they define happiness and joy? And when I just look into the scope of my life, what I find so fascinating is that I associate happiness with a feeling. And if you've ever, felt certain ways throughout the day, for me, it changes. Like I don't always stay in what I call happiness, where I feel happy. I feel like yesterday I felt a lot of sadness, right? My mom's in surgery right now. And hopefully she won't need to get any open heart surgery. It just kind of like scares me. And like I say, I was crying last night during a meditation and I was experiencing sadness. So I wasn't happy when I was sad. Like I've experienced I feel disappointed at times. I feel jealous, at times. Joy, I feel passionate, and so I experienced this broad scope of emotions throughout the day. And so that's the distinction here of happiness is to me is a feeling, you can disagree or agree, whatever, it doesn't matter. I'm sharing just this vantage point. And the really fascinating thing is that with joy, and even in the scope of the Joy Revolution, it's about that joy has been positive, that is irrespective of how you really feel. Joy is more of this place of just stay with me for a second. It's more of a place that you're coming from. It's joy is a place of being. Happiness is feeling. I feel a certain way, and joy is I'm being a certain way. And so I likened it to when I was there and I was meditating right here on my carpet, right there. I was sad, man, and I was crying, dude. And I was in joy, dude. I was in joy. I was in joy in full honoring of one of the most important people of my life, which is my mom, and and the sadness was like, well, what if there's a complication that happens today, or they decide that she's going to either need the leg surgery to get into and to pull the wires out of her heart, or open heart, which is risky, there's potentially life-threatening like implications for it if something goes wrong and blood starts to go into the heart. So and dude, that was joy for me, man. That was joy. I was not holding back. I wasn't holding back. I was living in alignment with my values, which is love and connection for, my family. And I was sad. And so my invitation is that whether you think that it's the same, like, oh, happiness and joy is the same thing. Great. My invitation is that what if there was a place of you don't always have to feel like in a certain state in order to be in alignment with your values and what really matters to you, that you can still be sad and powerful. You can be disappointed and powerful, and so it's a working definition for me right now. What's magical for me in a way is that this distinction between feeling and being, and that even if my emotions go to all these different things, like these, all right, that can, whether it's triggered by thoughts with the 60 to 100,000 thoughts we have a day, there's something that nobody can ever take away from me.
Yeah.
It's a change.
So interesting.
Yeah.
So interesting. And I think, thank you for sharing. I think you just introduced a really interesting concept here between the difference between feeling and being. And regardless of what words we use to describe it, this is your experience, right? And I mean, I'm curious because people might be able to relate to what you're saying, having a conscious awareness of being and feeling, and they may have different words that are used to describe it. And this is the limitation in language, because we've got this abstract experience and we're trying to contain it within a word which has a certain number of words in the definition itself, and that's really difficult. But the experience is real, right? You just described an experience where you distinguish a sense of being and the feeling, and I think that's fascinating. And I would invite people to share with us in the comment section what they feel the difference is between happiness and joy. And as I mentioned on Gavin's Instagram page at Gavin Masumiya, he talks about this in depth, so you can go over there and have a look at the feed. But we'd love for you to share your views on what the difference is between happiness and joy. And Gavin, we're getting much better with the 7 minutes. We've got a minute and a half. Is there anything you want to say before we close out?
Let me just say, I mean, just opening up is, there's people in your life that you really, that you really care about. Like it's times like this that awakens me to my humanity. That life is precious. That how important my family is to me, and as much as I don't wish this upon anybody, it's just that fear of like, what if something happens to my mom and stuff. It makes me so grateful, to have people in my life that I get this kind of, I get so triggered by and have these emotional responses to, and so hold those loved ones really close to you, and I think that's the biggest thing, man. Hold the people that you love close to you.
Yeah. So, hey, profound story, and thank you again for sharing. It's really interesting to hear that you were able to access this sense of being, as you described it, and feel a sense of joy or experience a sense of joy whilst you felt sadness. I think that's amazing.
Yeah.
We are running up against the clock, and
Yo, we're getting good at this, man.
We're getting good at this. So guys, as ever, guys, if you dig 9 to 5 with Gavin and Mike, be sure to like,
comment,
subscribe.
And wherever you are in the world right now,